that you're from the coast, you don't understand those things. You can't talk the language. You're not able to communicate. And you're not able to actually encourage and find that common ground.
No, it's stuff like there's a new law in this. I think we have way too many regulations and laws, as we've talked about. And this one, I think, says if you're a department store with over 500 employees, you have to have a gender-neutral toy department.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it.
So do you think that's silly? Do you think that's a silly thing that we too much government?
Welcome back, everyone. Today, Bill Maher sat down with Gavin Newsom here live on Real Time with Bill Maher to talk about many things. Of course, one of them being Donald Trump. And I thought this was just going to be a slurp fest when I first saw this. It's just going to be Bill Maher slurping up Gavin Newsom as he always does with these lefties. But Bill Maher actually, backing down and calling out Gavin Newsom into a corner and forcing Gavin Newsom to kind of fight his way out of it. Let's get into this clip right here where you can tell Bill Maher's audience is a little bit uneasy. They were pretty shocked as Bill Maher started to question Gavin Newsom. Like I said, let's just dive right in.
Good at the job. Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win. What do you say to that if you could win the, look at the swing states, there's only 8 of them.
Right. Well, I mean, California is an interesting case study, isn't it? It's the size of 21 state populations combined.
Yeah.
2/3 of the state is very deeply red. We don't need to be lectured on rural politics or border issues. I mean, in so many ways, these are familiar issues, and the issues of the heartland of the United States are very much a part and parcel of the work we're doing in this state. But look, I understand this notion that you're from the coast, you don't understand those things. You can't talk the language. You're not able to communicate, and you're not able to actually encourage and find that common ground.
No, it's stuff like there's a new law in this. I think we have way too many regulations and laws, as we've talked about. And this one, I think, says if you're a department store with over 500 employees, you have to have a gender-neutral toy department.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it.
So do you think that's silly? Do you think that's a silly thing that we too much government?
It's crazy that we're at the point where someone like Bill Maher is pushing back like that on someone like Gavin Newsom, and even bringing up something like that. And before, even to this day, a lot of people out there, if Gavin Newsom goes on The View is not pushing back like that. They are not asking these type of questions, questioning his authority, questioning Gavin Newsom's viewpoint. But now we're going to see Gavin Newsom, do the politician thing where, objectively, I would say Gavin Newsom is a good politician when it comes to answering those hard questions. Objectively, one of the better politicians at wiggling his way out of answering, any hard-hitting questions that would make him look negative or put him in a bad light in front of people. And this is one of those situations where he's now going to try and just make Bill Maher think he's interacting and wiggle his way out of answering the questions that he should be. And let's just check it out.
Interesting one, because the department stores came to us supporting that, and they were the ones making a case for that. They were making a case they're already moving in that direction.
Wanted you to make a law about them?
Well, but they supported the legislation. It wasn't legislation that was enacted, that was initiated from my office, but it was legislation that came up with interesting support from the industry itself. But I understand how that's exploited, and good people can disagree. But that's not something we woke up and said, this is a top priority for the state, when we know the top priorities are homelessness, housing, the issues of crime, quality of life, and issues related to regulation and taxes, which are all top of mind. But I get how those things are weapons.
All right. So, Juan, I got you here, because I live here and I'm not going anywhere. So I just want to make this a better state like everybody else.
Amen.
And good job this year making it rain.
You're welcome.
Because
That was my legislative priority.
It was looking bad there for a while, and we.
I also want you to notice how awkwardly quiet it was whenever Bill Maher was questioning Gavin Newsom and really pushing back against him. It was silent in the crowd. Like, you can hear the uneasiness of the place. And then when Gavin Newsom does answer questions, he I mean, you can let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong, but he just talks about other things, and it ends up sounding like a word salad, and he finishes off making himself sound better. I mean, this is just to showcase his job as a politician, but it's like he doesn't even answer the question at all. It's one thing for him to not answer it, but it's another thing just to give an entire roundabout and finish with an applause from the audience as if he said something justifiable, as if you didn't even give an answer that wasn't valid, you know? It's just ridiculous. But I do respect Bill Maher for being able to go against the whole audience and at least, you know, question it of any sorts, what's going on there in California.
Enough water in the Colorado River and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then whenever I read 80% of the water goes to agriculture. Almonds.
Right.
No one ever asked you about almonds? Oh, I'm going to ask you about almonds. We grow a boatload of almonds
I'm well
here.
aware.
You know how much water it takes?
Many gallons.
1,900 gallons to grow a pound of almonds. Yeah. Come on, man. take on Big Almond.
Take on Big Almond.
I mean, it's not like we don't have the water.
No. You're right about it. It's not that we don't have the water. That said, you know, the last couple of years were tough. I mean, but it's also where the water's falling and we're not capturing it. And we're not capturing
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help you out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
those extreme years with these atmospheric rivers. Wets are getting a lot wetter, dry's drier, hot's getting a lot hotter. And so we've got to modernize our conveyance system. We've got to modernize our storage, not just above ground, but below ground. And so that's a big part of our focus and frame, including desalinization plants. We have 20 projects just on desal that we're working on today. So we put out a detailed water strategy that includes, by the way, getting that Delta conveyance project back up and operational, and includes the first above ground off stream storage facility in half a century in the state, which, by the way, is being aided by a regulatory package I pushed forward to reduce red tape in the state of California and address the permitting quagmires that you rightfully pointed out.
That's a lot of stuff that I really don't have any idea what it means. I can't speak too much on that, but I do love the fact that, you know, Bill Maher asked him a question and he's like, yeah, we're having water problems inside the state of California. And immediately Gavin Newsom is just like, yeah, but global warming and the winters are getting colder and the summers are getting hotter, the dry periods are getting drier, the wet ones are getting wetter. And it's like, what does it have to do with anything you're talking about? And Bill Maher has brought up a valid question about almonds, and he's like, why is there's so much water going towards almonds in California? It's just confusing, but they just always have a script for everything, and they can just blame the right for being lunatics on things like global warming and anti-woke propaganda. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
You're good at this.
What?
See, I'm telling you, you're good at this job. Okay. But here's, I feel like the last couple of years you've like purposely picked this fight with the red states. I mean, the DeSantis. Yeah, but I don't want to live in the Civil War country.
I agree with that.
You know what?
Well,
but you seem like you purposely want to set up this dichotomy between, oh, this is a blue state and that's a red state. Yeah. And I don't want to live in that country. I like Florida.
I'm with you. And by the way, I like Florida as well. I like all these states. I completely agree. I don't want to have a state of mind that's a constant fight or flight. We've gone through so much. We've been polarized and traumatized. There's been a tough 5-6 years across the globe, not just in this country. That said, I'm not going to sit back and watch. You made the point just a moment ago in your monologue. You got folks out there trying to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. America in reverse, rolling back voting rights, LGBTQ rights, women's rights, not just access to abortion, but contraception. I mean, it's a profound and consequential moment. And you could sit by and say, well, I really want to get along as these guys are rolling back the clock, or you can stand tall and assert yourself. And the reason I started to go into those red states, the reason I started to take on DeSantis, and the reason I started doing ads in these red states is I didn't feel my party was doing enough. It was CRT one year, and then it's ESG, and it's DEI. Anything with 3 letters, these guys keep coming, and they're shape-shifting, and they're trauma. And so, but it's true, right? And
Bill Maher's audience just absolutely loved that one, and I just kind of find it funny how he's like trying to, you know, talk about rolling back the clock or trying to go back to the 1960s, or, you know, saying it's such an evil thing. But if you look at where the country of the United States is and where it's at right now and where it was previously headed versus where it was at, you know, back in the 90s, early 2000s. I mean, just look at how we're perceived by other countries and other powerhouses in the world. We're perceived as a joke, and, you know, we've lost the respect in general by Russia and China and these other major countries out there, especially when Trump wasn't in office. I mean, we'll see what happens now that Trump's here, but you know, they were moving on everything they wanted to do in China with Taiwan, Russia with Ukraine, and the whole debacle in the Middle East was making moves on it because we weren't being taken seriously. We were supposed to be the mediator, but we're not, you know? And I'm just really curious to hear your comments below on all this stuff. And please like and subscribe. It means the world to me. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.